Hello, our group is called Freebird, and we are going to be talking about Sue Bird and the WNBA today. So, a little background on Sue Bird. Sue Bird is an American professional basketball player who plays point guard for the Seattle Storm. She was awarded the New York State Player of the Year, among other accolades, in high school, and in college, she won Player of the Year for her time at UConn. She's considered one of the greatest WNBA players of all time. She is also an Olympian and a EuroLeague champion. In 2017, Sue Bird came out publicly as lesbian and spoke about her relationship with soccer star Megan Rapinoe. Later, in 2018, she and Rapinoe became the first same-sex couple shown on the cover of the Body issue of ESPN magazine. As such, equal rights and opportunities for the LGBTQ plus community, athletes, coaches, etc., have all been on the forefront of Bird's activist agenda. So, with that, our critical question is going to be, how have Sue Bird and the WNBA fought against homophobia and racism within the sport of basketball? So following off of that, our question is concerned with how Sue Bird and her teammates have used their platforms and visibility to push back against homophobia and racism within the WNBA and basketball as a whole. So both historically and in modern day, men and women athletes have been targeted for being or seemingly queer, which has resulted in the wrongful end of many talented players' careers. Examples of this can be seen in the treatment of women's basketball players at Penn State under the leadership of Coach Breene Portland, in which players were threatened with removal from the team if they were engaged or were suspected of engaging in homosexual relationships.
So if we are to employ a critical feminist theory here, which is the focus on issues of power to explain the origins and consequences of gender relations, especially those that privilege men, we need to look at Sue Bird through an intersectional lens to allow us a deeper analysis of her complete identity and how it affords her kind of a unique position to speak up against many current social issues. Right. So by honoring each part of Bird's identity simultaneously, especially those that subject her to a oppressed class, we will be able to impact just how much of an influence her life and career has had on women. And I think this is important because Bird is not a female who is also a lesbian, who is also an athlete. She has all of these identities, and we should not be inclined to ignore the others to focus solely on one. Additionally, I think this approach lends itself well to see how the homophobic and racist critiques that Bird receives is actually layered into a patriarchal system, and kind of highlights the unique ability of male domination to adjust to new circumstances and identities as a way to ensure its continued projection and reprojection. Um, and so, among many other things listed on this slide at the bottom, one key social issue Bird speaks against is the lack of respect female athletes receive in comparison to their male counterparts. Again, using an intersectional lens, we can analyze the unique challenges female athletes like Bird have had to face in order to both play a sport while retain their femininity. And I think the female athlete paradox points to some of these complex intersected issues by describing how gender boundaries described by Coakley in the textbook are generated in sports, that women can become athletes and are accepted as such by society by participating in masculine activities showcasing like their strength, ability, and talent, if they kind of like color inside the boundaries that the orthodox gender ideology sets forth as what females are supposed to be like and behave as such.
In order to face these social issues like racism, homophobia, and sexism, the main approach we can see taken by Sue Bird and the WNBA is a united front approach. Sue Bird, along with other players in the NBA, stand together to support the same social issues. with this kind of approach, especially with these influential athletes, what they're doing is slowly but surely developing a culture of acceptance and equality for everyone. There's tons of examples in the WNBA of this happening. Recently, we saw tons of support with the Black Lives Matter movement. And I think a great example of this united front approach to social issues is the protesting of the Philando Castile killing in 2017. There are 4 members of the Minnesota team during a pregame press conference wore plain black T-shirts that said "Change starts with us, justice and accountability," and were fined from the league because they didn't wear the appropriate attire. The players' response from this, there was other players from other teams that came out and expressed their kind of disdain towards the league finding them and doing this. And one of the best responses was a day later after the players were fined, Tina Charles, one of the best athletes in the WNBA, protested while receiving her Player of the Month trophy. She wore the same black shirt that the other WNBA players had worn to make a statement. And so it's that kind of united front that they use to create a new kind of better culture for everyone.
Moving on to the public reaction of Sue and her activism. Sue has had the backing of so many people within the general population, but even more so within the WNBA community itself. The support for her has been seen far more than in other communities such as the NFL and the NBA, which have seen substantial backlash from prior campaigns on racial ideas and trying to diminish homophobia within these sports. After Sue's team, the Seattle Storm, won the 2020 WNBA championship, ESPN posted a video that quickly went viral, displaying Sue and her girlfriend Megan Rapinoe's celebration of the victory. Fans quickly flooded social media with support following this finals, showing support for not only Sue Bird's accomplished sports accomplishments, but also her activism through which she has used her platform to promote. Going on to the WNBA is fighting back against homophobia within its organization and trying to change the perception of the league. They are finding that they already have a good backing by the LGBT community, even prior to the launch of their Pride campaign. While easy to do, the existing base of strong support on the issue makes it easier to spread their messages of acceptance and go against orthodox gender ideology than other sports settings. The former president of the WNBA prior to the launch of this campaign, Laurel Richie, said, quote, "We embrace all of our fans, and it's a group that we know has been very, very supportive. I won't characterize it as why did it take so long? For me, we've been doing a lot of terrific initiatives. The piece that's different this year is unifying it."
For our course concepts, we have hegemonic masculinity, which is the most dominant form of masculinity or has the most clout in society. And the course concept we connected that to was female invaders, which are perceived as invaders in male territory and made targets by males and females who accepted orthodox gender ideology. And the way we connected these two to Sue Bird is that Sue Bird is seen as a female invader because she is playing a masculine sport such as basketball, and she is using that pedestal to voice for civil rights and for equality, and she's taking on that feminism role, and that might clash with hegemonic masculinity, and it might be viewed as stepping into male territory. So that's how we were able to connect the two. And also connects with our next course concept, policing of masculinity, which is drawing attention to identities that fell outside of hegemonic masculinities, questioning and trivializing, distancing and othering, and taunting and violence. And because she's taking on that female invader role in playing a masculine sports such as basketball, you are going to get people that bring that negative attention towards that and will pressure her, especially when she is voicing for women's activists and civil rights activists. And you're going to get a lot of people like that. And that is policing of masculinity. And then our final course concept is Title IX, which is the 1972 Educational Amendment declared no person based on sex shall be denied participation or receive discrimination in any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Because Sue Bird is in the WNBA, they had a lack of media attention and equality in that sort of area. And because of Title IX, they were able, and voicing their opinions, they were able to get more resources allocated towards them, better media coverage, more media attention, and so on. And these are our references. Thank you.